Almost 12 years ago, Konami created one of the most epic role-playing games ever created. And that game was Suikoden II. Now, a lot of people have never even heard of this game. And for those who have heard of it, most likely never got a chance to play it. And that's quite unfortunate. Because this is one of the greatest RPGs I've ever played. And I would recommend this game to anyone that loves role-playing games. Now I'm just going to read the back of the jewel case, and it says, "Experience an epic tale of warfare, magic, friendship, and betrayal." And that really tells about how the game is. The key thing here is it says experience, because you really do experience all this stuff in this game, and you really feel like you're part of the game when you play it. Whether it's falling in love with the character interaction between you and all your allies. It might just be the fact that you hate the enemies so much and you're just so in love with the story. But there's a lot to do in this game. It's not just a typical RPG. It's much more. But I can't just tell you about it. I have to show you. Now, to tell a little bit of the story, you start off as the main hero with your best friend Joey, who are in the Highland Army. You guys are in basically the junior brigade of the army. You wake up the next morning and your camp is on fire, and Raud tells you that the city-state did this. By disobeying your captain, you go the wrong way and find a dead end, but this is when you meet your main villain, Luca Blight, and he is the most vicious villain in almost any RPG. You eventually lose them, and then you have to jump off the waterfall and get separated from Joey. In the next scene, you find yourself to be caught by mercenary soldiers that work for the state army, and naturally they're kind of your enemy since you work for the Highland Army, but you're kind of confused since you kind of got betrayed by the Highland Army. You start off as a prisoner, but after a while you gain their respect, and you side with the state army mercenaries. Joey eventually finds you, and you guys manage to escape the mercenary fort, but you go back to the Highland Army and they try to execute you. But as luck would have it, you're eventually rescued by the mercenaries that work for the state army. This is when you truly side with the state army. Throughout the beginning of the game, you see a lot of destruction caused by the Highland Army. You see a lot of people get killed and towns get destroyed. And this is when your character decides that the Highland Army really needs to get taken down. This pretty much starts your adventure off. Now, one thing I love about this game is you don't just have turn-based fighting, you also have military tactics battles, which is really great and it's really good for the story. In the battles you can use rune magic, you can use unique abilities, and you can also use ranged abilities, so there's a lot of diverse ways to kill your opponent. Now, I love the turn-based aspect of the game because you can use up to 6 characters, and you can also attack simultaneously, so you don't have to wait for each character's turn. You can just see everyone attack at the same time and get it done quick. Each character can equip up to 3 different types of runes, whether it's a lightning, fire, earth, or just maybe an attack rune, so you can kind of customize your characters any way you want them. If you pair the right people together, you can also perform great combo moves. With over 70 characters you can use in battle, there's a huge list of combos you can find in the game. Although my favorite combination move would be when you use the 5 flying squirrels, 4 of which are secret characters. They go into a little Power Ranger pose. They fart in the air, they fly off, and then they throw an enemy away. And they're not really the best characters, but I always love using them just because they're fun. Now here comes my favorite part of the game. You own a castle in this game, and you build it up from scratch. The more characters you recruit, the bigger your castle gets, and you can recruit up to 108 different characters. Now each character in your castle is very unique. When you recruit them, you bring something new to the castle, whether it's a new shop, or it's a new minigame for you to play. There's a lot of stuff to do with your characters in here. Now my favorite thing to do in this game is the cook-off. It's where a rival chef comes and challenges your chef, or do an Iron Chef type tournament, and you get your food judged and compared, and you either win or lose the competition. Now where the game really sticks out is its story. The story is always keeping you intrigued and really pulling you into the game and making you want to play more. Whether it's a treaty being broken, someone getting murdered, or just getting betrayed every now and then, there's always something happening where it keeps you intrigued in the game and wants you to play more. Now, I didn't want to get too much into the story at the beginning, but I didn't want to ruin anything. I just kind of gave you the premise of what's going on. But this game is extremely war driven. There's always something happening every now and then that always turns the tide. The game is so complex with a story, so I can't really explain it without ruining the story or just getting too heavy into it, because there's always something crazy happening every now and then. Now, I really do consider this one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and a lot of RPG fanatics consider this the greatest RPG of all time, and I can't blame them because it is great. Now, this game might not be for everyone. If you're pretty used to new games and can't play old games anymore, then you might not like this game because it is a PlayStation 1 game. But I do gotta say, for PlayStation 1 standards, this has really held up over the years, and the visuals and the graphics are pretty good for the PlayStation 1 type graphics. Another thing is it's a turn-based RPG, so if you're really into action RPGs and you can't play turn-based games anymore, that's fine. You just can't play those type of games. That's your opinion, that's your type of game you like to play. So I would suggest this if you don't like the turn-based games. Now, this game does have a little story to it because it does take place 3 years after the original game. But that doesn't really matter if you want to play it. If you don't want to play the first game, there's no real tie to the story when you play this game and the previous one. It does show some little ties with some side story, but it's nothing really important where you can really ruin the game by playing this one first. So I would suggest this to anyone that wants to play it and they don't want to play the first game. Though I do gotta say, one of the major drawbacks of the game is the price. If you were to want to buy this on eBay, it can range from anywhere from $100 to $150 I've seen it go for. If you do find this for cheap, buy it, don't pass it up. It's a good collectible, it's a rare game, it's always good to have in your collection. So look out for this game when you look out for buying games. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys.